it's Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com, back with another EcoVegan Gal Uncensored. And this is a follow-up to the video I posted last night because I received so many wonderful comments. I wanted to address them and give you an update today. I am always going to aim to do a video every day. That's really something I want to do for at least one of my channels, and I feel really excited about what's going on in my life right now. So just a quick update for you. I had my workout at Physique 57 last night, as I mentioned, and I woke up this morning feeling a little sore, but not extremely sore, which is nice. You know, sometimes you do these workouts and you just feel like horrible the next day. You can barely move, and the thought of working out that soon is just horrifying, but I woke up feeling really good and I was refreshed. I had a great amount of sleep. I meditated a little bit before I went to bed, which is another thing that I'm trying to do more regularly. And I went to a class this afternoon, early afternoon. I'm one of those people who sleeps really late. Usually I get up between 10 and 11 a.m. every day. So going to a 12 o'clock class was early for me, but I went and I felt fantastic. I want to experiment with the times that I go to work out. Because I'm such a night owl, I usually lean towards doing things at night. But I also want to experiment with doing things earlier in the day so that I can see how it affects my energy level. Because as much as I've figured out that I naturally lean towards staying up late and waking up late, there's always part of me that thinks, is that not so good for me? Because a lot of people recommend, you know, going to bed when it's dark out and waking up when it's light out. So I'll be experimenting with that in the different class times. But I had a great workout. What I want to say again about Physique 57 is that it's really nice that it's only an hour. Technically, you only work out for about 45 minutes, and then you do about 15 minutes of cool down, which is nice. So it goes by really fast. I'm used to doing yoga, which tends to be an hour and a half in length, and I can definitely start to feel like it's a little too long sometimes. Maybe like an hour and 15 minutes would be the sweet spot. Sometimes you'll find classes like that, but it's just nice to do 45 minutes of really strong workout and know that I'm not going to be too exhausted, that instead of that being halfway through the class, it's only 45 minutes. And what I really like about this bar workout is that it works every part of the body, and it just focuses on each section for what seems like a very short amount of time. And I already feel like I'm getting toned. While I was working out today, I could feel it in my arms. I've never been very good about doing push-ups, but we do a lot of push-ups in the class, and I'm excited to get stronger in that sense up in here as well. And I also notice a lot of tension and soreness today in my hips and my gluteus maximus, and that feels nice too. I'm looking forward to the day where my abs actually are sore the next day. I've never had that experience. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not doing them right. I'm not sure. But that's the update. I'm planning on going again tomorrow evening, and I'm excited about that. I wanted to respond to some of the comments. Thanks to all of your support. It's really cool when people comment a lot on videos, and especially when the comments are very supportive. I tend to not read comments on my YouTube videos very often because they can tend to be critical, and because everything that I do with EcoVegan Gal comes from my heart, I am very sensitive and feel very vulnerable when I do videos, as I've mentioned on this channel many times, but I was so curious to see what everybody had to say from last night's video that I read them all. And they were very, very supportive, and it made me feel good about doing these videos. So I wanted to address a few questions and comments on there. One thing that I read from several people was referring to eating more fruit, especially doing something like the 80-10-10 diet. In the past, I have tried 80-10-10. I did that last summer for, I think, almost 2 months, and I felt fantastic. I really loved it. I fell off the wagon, so to say, because I was driving cross country with my sister, and then it was more challenging to find the fruits that I wanted to have over in Massachusetts. California, it's just an abundance here. So it was challenging for me, and I've tried to jump back into 80-10-10, but I've always felt some resistance there. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I've read the book. I've followed people like Freely and Durian Rider. Freely runs something called the Banana Girl Diet, which is neat. Somebody else mentioned that in the comments last night. And I think it's really interesting and inspiring, but there's still part of me that's not entirely sure if it's the best thing nutritionally. There are people like Fully Raw Christina, who I think is a phenomenal advocate for the low-fat raw diet, and I'm not sure if she calls what she does 80-10-10 or if it's just low-fat, but you know, some people like her are so vibrant and enthusiastic, and it's exciting to see what they're doing. And it's obviously a very popular thing, especially on YouTube. We see a lot of people getting really revved up about 80-10-10 and low-fat raw diets. So I guess what I like to take from that diet is just trying to cut back on the amount of fats that I'm eating, even the healthy fats, things like nuts and avocados. A lot of times when you're eating a really clean diet, you'll overindulge in those types of foods, and even though it's a good fat, it still translates to fat in your body, which is kind of the principle behind 80-10-10. And I just keep that in mind. So I'm one of those people that really enjoy lots of fats. I guess we all do, but you know, there's always part of me that's trying to make sure that I'm not eating too much. Unless I was talking about low oil as well, I really lean much more towards the whole foods plant-based diet that T. Colin Campbell and Dr. McDougall and Engine 2 diet, the Esselstyns promote. I think that's amazing, and there's so much research behind that. And seeing as there's so many doctors and advocates behind the low oil, low salt, low sugar, and just eating that clean diet, I really feel like I trust their advice, and I feel really good about it. And I really enjoy eating whole foods that are cooked. Recently, I've been really into things like quinoa and brown rice and all the squashes that are out there, butternut squash and kabocha squash. I just can't get enough of right now. Any type of squash, acorn squash I haven't had in a while. But it's challenging with those. I like to roast them, and I'll often roast them with coconut oil. And I try to go easy on the coconut oil. But I found that if I don't use any oil at all, that just doesn't have the quite same taste and crispiness, the texture of it. So there's always that debate. I suppose you can steam those. It's just a big experiment, really, and just keeping track of how you feel. So I know that when I have a lot of salt, oil, and sugar, I don't feel my best. So that's why I cut back on those. And I think it's good for me to eat a lot of fruit, as some people have mentioned. It's really good for kicking the addiction to refined sugars or processed sugars. So today I got some really beautiful apples that were on sale at the local market, and some incredible mangoes. I can never pronounce them right. Is it a tuflo? A tufla? I don't know. They're those cute little, almost like, they're tiny yellow mangoes, and they have like a little curve to them, and they're insanely delicious. Expensive, but really, really good. And when I was doing 80-10-10, that's when I first discovered them. So I guess from my perspective, it's great to experiment with different diets and just different ways of living in general, different exercises, as I talked about yesterday, because that's when you start to figure out what you want to do. And you might not want to do it all the time 100%, but you'll incorporate it into your lifestyle. You know, I got really into figs as a result of 80-10-10, and started to taste the difference between different types of dates and all just different types of fruits. That was my favorite part of doing 80-10-10 full on, was that I just grew so fond of fruits. So I keep that in mind, and I'm open to doing it again. I just kind of go with the flow on what I'm feeling like. And like I said in last night's video, I often find that when I'm exercising on a regular basis, that really changes the types of foods that I want to eat. For example, when I came back from my workout today, I wanted to eat very clean. I wanted to have a mainly raw meal. So in addition to the apples and the mangoes, I also got ingredients to make a collard wrap. So I took a collard green wrap and I put some baba ganoush on there. I wanted to get raw hummus, but it was several dollars more, and I didn't feel like spending $7 on raw hummus. Really, I should be making it myself to save money. So collard greens, baba ganoush on top, and then I put on cucumber, carrots, red bell pepper sprinkled on some dulse seasoning, which is a type of sea vegetable. It's really delicious and a great alternative to salt. I put a little dash of salt on there, and then some freshly squeezed lemon juice from the tree I have outside. Another big thing is growing as much of your own food as possible. I'm gearing up to plant some more herbs, and I got to pay more attention to my blueberry bush and all of this. So it's really nice to have that fresh food right in your garden. I mean, that's an incredible way to incorporate more fresh foods together. But anyways, I had that collard wrap, and it was absolutely delicious, refreshing, filling, and it really hit the spot. A couple other things that people were saying in their comments. Several of you were mentioning that you thought that I was already in great shape. One of you was telling me that my figure, I guess, because I'm a little curvy or voluptuous, I'm a role model to you, and that's really an honor to hear. And I feel that too. There are certainly people in the public eye that I look up to that have curvier figures. There's part of me that whenever I see a celebrity that's just like perfectly thin, there's part of me that kind of cringes, and I feel kind of like, oh great, there's another person that is setting the standard for being super skinny all the time. But when I see more voluptuous women, and especially if they're in great shape and they look really healthy, it's really, really inspiring. And it reminds me that not all women are built the same, and some of us have curves, some of us are just naturally skinnier. And I want to let you know that this is definitely coming from a place of self-love. Somebody said that as long as I'm doing it out of a place of self-love and not as punishment, that they support me. And I really appreciate that too, and I do want to reiterate that that's where this is coming from. In addition to me being curious about what it takes to get my body into shape, I feel like it really perpetuates that sense of self-love and respect. When I'm working out on a regular basis, I feel really in tune with my body. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, my palate changes, my cravings change, my energy levels change, my stress levels go down, my happiness goes up. All of those great benefits of working out are there in place, in addition to looking better. And it's funny that even after a day, my body just seems to already start to get into that mode. I feel like my stomach, I don't think it actually is, but maybe it's just my perception of it. Maybe it just looks like I'm starting to slim down. So it's just kind of that great, powerful feel. I had a fantastic teacher in the class today that was reminding us at the beginning that it's important to always set your intention and know that while you're working out, and kind of use that as your mantra to get through your hard workouts, so that you know why you're doing it. And everybody has a different reason for working out, and I feel like, again, if it comes from that place of positivity and self-love and a healthy emotional state, then it's fantastic when you work out on a regular basis and get to that goal that you want to get to. Somebody else, why I'm not doing Bikram yoga. Bikram yoga has to this day been my favorite form of exercise. I wanted to try a few other forms of working out before I went back to Bikram. And I happen to have all these free passes to try out in Los Angeles. So like I mentioned also in last night's video, there are a few hot yoga and Bikram yoga studios in Los Angeles that offer fantastic deals. So my feeling is, though, is those are like unlimited for a month, and I want to make sure that I have a full month where I'm not traveling so that I can take advantage of those great deals. So I think that I'll probably be joining Bikram yoga again in the new year, and I'm really, really excited about it. I've seen fantastic results. I love the sweating portion of it. I love the meditation that I get into, that focus that I have. I love that I feel really loose and my muscles are all stretched. And believe it or not, I like the repetition or the consistency of the routine in Bikram. So I always know what I'm going into, and after a while, everything kind of cancels out, and all you do is focus in on the poses. You don't even have to listen to the instructor at a certain point. And you can start to notice how you're doing. I feel like even though I tend to get bored doing the same thing over and over again in a workout, with Bikram, it becomes this challenge of, am I going to be able to do this pose? Am I going to be able to hold it longer than I did yesterday? Am I going to be able to stretch more? Can I better reach my toes? Can I, do the advanced position that they bring up? And that's one thing I love about Bikram in that sense. A couple more things. A few people mentioned that they really appreciate me doing these videos because it motivates and inspires them, and I'm really excited to hear that. That motivates and inspires me to do these videos. And a few of you referred to themselves as being a virtual training buddy, workout buddy with me, and I think that's fantastic. I would love to put that more in place and get that going. A few years ago, I did a group cleanse through YouTube, and it was really neat because every day I would check in video form and go through the different portions of the cleanse, and I got a lot of great feedback. So perhaps I will do something similar at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. And the last thing is that a few people mentioned that they of themselves have struggled with eating disorders, and I just want you all to know that I completely understand where you're coming from, and I'm here to support you. It can feel like a very lonely, vulnerable, frustrating road to be on that eating disorder path, and it sounds like those of you who have commented are talking about it in the past tense, so something that you've overcome. So congratulations on that. And I will say, though, that at least in my experience, that mindset that you get into when you're struggling with some sort of eating addiction or disorder, whatever you want to call it, whatever you experience, it's not necessarily ever going to go away. It's something that you always have to be mindful within yourself, and you really have to work towards. It's so much more of a mental challenge, at least in my opinion, than it is a physical challenge. It's working through whatever those mental challenges that you're having that led you to that point. For me, the biggest turning point was when I went to a therapist years ago when I was in college. I went to a therapist and we talked it out, and I realized the source of my emotions, and I was able to get it under control through her words. So I think therapy is fantastic, meditation's fantastic. A form of exercise that allows you to get really in touch with yourself and is positive is fantastic. So far, my past 2 classes at Physique 57, it has been so positive. There's a really good energy there. You can tell that they're there to help you get to be your best self, and it's not about competition, and it's not about doing it in an unhealthy way. And again, you're only working out hardcore for 45 minutes and you're doing great exercises. So whether you want to try them out, a similar bar workout, or just seek out a workout environment where it is supportive and coming from a place of positivity and self-love, I think that's a fantastic way to help people that are struggling with some sort of addiction or disorder or any sort of challenge in your life. So that's it for today, and I will see how often I can do these videos. Maybe you'll hear from me tomorrow. Thank you so much for all your support. For those of you who watch my main channel and my other channels, I have lots of content coming. It's just a matter of the time to get it all done. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.